it was Pilate's custom to release for the people a prisoner they requested. There was one named Barabbas, who was in prison with rebels who had committed murder during the time of the rebellion. The crowd came up and began to ask Pilate to do for them as was his custom. So Pilate answered them, "Do you want me to release the king of the Jews for you?" But he knew it was because of envy that the chief priests had handed him over. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd so that he would release Barabbas to them instead. Pilate then asked them again, "Then what do you want me to do with the one you call the king of the Jews?" And again they shouted, "Crucify him!" And Pilate said to them, "Why? What has he done wrong?" But they shouted, "Crucify all the more." Then, willing to gratify the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them, and after having Jesus flogged, he handed him over to be crucified. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God. The 40 days before Easter, 46 Vigil Sunday, those days are this church's season of Lent. And during Lent, we work to prepare our hearts to come to the foot of the cross, and then, of course, to go to the empty tomb for the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. And so, during these weeks before Lent, I've been looking at the questions that the Gospel of Mark puts in his telling of the Passion story. It is my firm belief that the four Gospel writers are four of the great writers of Western literature. And I don't think they put stuff in there accidentally or just as a placeholder. I think that when the Gospel writers tell us something, even the small minutiae detail we need to pay attention to for some reason or another. The story, the part of the story that we heard this morning, is Jesus' trial before the Roman governor Pilate. Now, sometimes the gospel tries to cast Pilate in a good light. But there really wasn't all that much that was good about Pilate. Pilate was a mean man. The reality was he'd as soon crucify you as look at you. There's no evidence that Pilate ever had this custom of releasing a prisoner. And it's sure as heck going to be that he would never offer to release an insurrectionist. Pilate only had two jobs. The first job was to keep the peace in Palestine. And the second job was to collect taxes. That's his whole job description as far as Rome was concerned. Pilate had been a good friend of the emperor, but at some point or another they'd had a falling out. And so when the emperor got mad at Pilate, he appointed him governor of Palestine because that's the backwards area of the Roman Empire. It's hot, it's dusty, and there are a lot of angry Jews that live in Palestine. So nobody wanted that appointment. That is not anybody's dream job. But Pilate had it because the emperor, for whatever reason, was mad at him. So not only is Pilate a mean person, but he's fallen out with the emperor, and he's got this backwards country that he's now the governor of. Most of the time, Pilate did not live in Jerusalem. Jerusalem was particularly hot. It smelled bad, and there were a whole lot of people elbow to elbow. If you've ever been on I-20 when traffic backed up, that's the feeling that Jerusalem has. And when you were in Jerusalem, that meant that there were all kinds of possibilities. There was a group that were called the Zealots. And under the robes, that you wore in that kind of climate, they would carry a long knife, about yay long. And if they got close enough to a Roman soldier, they were likely as not to stab him. And let me tell you something, when that happened, Pilate didn't ever hesitate. He always crucified the assassin if they could catch him. So this story in Mark, maybe Pilate was trying to get Jesus off, but the reality of Pilate is that doesn't sound very much like him. So that you and I have to pay attention to why Mark is doing this. And I think the question that Pilate asks is not just a question of first century Palestine. I think it's a question for the 21st century church as well. What do you want me to do with Jesus? Now you see, that's the first mistake that Pilate has made. Because what Pilate has done is turn a person into a thing. You don't do something with people. That's not how it works. You don't do something to people, you work with people. You journey alongside them. But when Pilate asks the question, what do you want me to do with Jesus of Nazareth? He's treating a person as a thing. And so that's the first sin. And that question is still alive and well. What are we going to do with Jesus? At Christmas time, how many of you decorate at least part of your house with a nativity scene? A manger scene? Anybody do that? Okay, a lot of us do that. So if you're really gung-ho and high behind on December 26th, you take all your Christmas decorations down and pack them away, right? If you're a purist, you wait till January the 6th, because that's Epiphany, and you pack them and put them away. If you're really unfortunate in having a busy year, you didn't make it by Valentine's Day. They're still up. My favorite nativity scene in my house was painted by my grandmother. And it's a ceramic one, so it'll break. So I've got this box filled with those styrofoam peanuts in order to protect all of the figures. And when the time finally comes, then I'll take the figures down and I wrap them before I put them in these peanuts in this box. I always start with the camels because they're the biggest. And then I do the donkey and the cow. And then I begin the wise men. They're usually really tall. The shepherds next. And then Mary and Joseph. And do the sheep because they're little. And lastly then, in this particular nativity scene, Jesus and the manger are separate from each other. So I wrap up the manger and put it away. And then I always hesitate. Because there's something wrong with putting Jesus in a box for another year. You know? And I think that's what part of the world does. I think they haul Jesus out at the beginning of December sometime. And then as soon as Christmas is over, they put Jesus in a box and they're not going to bother with him again. Maybe that's true. But possibly not till next Christmas. What shall I do with Jesus? I don't know if you've seen the meme in Facebook. I put it on my page because it's so good. And it's, I can't remember who it is discussing, but one friend with another. The first friend says, do I understand correctly you have to have the Holy Spirit in order to go to heaven? And the other friend says, honey, you've got to have the Holy Spirit to go to Walmart. But there's this sense in that first question. Sometimes there's this sense when we wrestle with Pilate's question, what do you want me to do with Jesus? Well, I accepted Jesus. That way I won't go to hell. And so people use Jesus as fire insurance. And that then falls into the same trap that Pilate fell into. Because then you're using the person of Jesus as a thing. What do you want me to do with Jesus? Reality, of course, is a singular question. What do you want me to do with Jesus? We don't want you to do anything with Jesus. The reality is that those of us in the community of faith have long since realized that a relationship with Jesus is what we're after. A person-to-person relationship, not using Jesus as a thing, not using Jesus as insurance. What do you want me to do with Jesus? And the world is like the crowd. Well, the easy thing is let's just get rid of him. Let's put him back in the box until next Christmas. Or, let's just crucify him. Get him out of here. Get him out of the way. Don't bother us anymore. And the pilots of the world are more than happy to do that. They don't care anyway. But the question that you and I have to ask is not what we're going to do with Jesus, but who are we going to be with Jesus? What does it mean to be a Christian, to walk with Jesus? Because sometimes we may sing, my burden is light, but the reality is, in the world, taking up your cross and following Jesus can be a real challenge. You do remember, this is the same man who said, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, turn it off the other one. This is the same Jesus who said, however you treat the least of these my brothers and sisters who are hungry and thirsty and naked and in prison, that's how you treat me. This is the same Jesus who said, anyone who would follow me must deny themselves. And that's not what the pilots of the world want to do. The pilots of the world want to live at the oceanside. That's what a pilot would do, you understand. He didn't live in Jerusalem most of the time. He lived in Caesarea Philippi, which was a beach city. Because at least there you had some cool breezes coming. But when Passover time came, Pilate knew enough about the Jews to think, Passover is one of those liberation holidays. And some Jews might take it into their head that, well, God overthrew Egypt on behalf of us. Maybe at Passover, God will overthrow Rome for us. And so at Passover time, Pilate would collect up the Roman cohort and would march in to Jerusalem and occupy the place, because it would swell with people coming in for the festival. But those Roman soldiers were there to remind everybody, there will be no uprising this year. There's not going to be shrugging off Rome. And oh, by the way, if you're an insurrectionist, or if you're somebody who has claimed the title of King of the Jews, that's against Rome. And Pilate would just as soon crucify you as have a trial in the first place. And when the question comes, well, what do you want me to do with Jesus? You and I cringe. Jesus is not a thing to be used. Jesus is not an insurance policy. Jesus is not a patch for all our woes. Jesus is not a thing that we wrap up in a box, or that we say, just crucify him and get him out of the way. Jesus is the person with whom we have a relationship. Jesus is that person who walks with us, whether times are good or times are bad. Jesus is the one who never abandons us, even when we do come to the foot of the cross. Even when some part of society has shouted, oh, just crucify and get it out of the way. What do you want me to do with Jesus? It's a tough question in the first century, and it's a tough question in the 21st century. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.